I need to do all 16 spark plugs for this motor. Now, as you can see, I have pretty much everything on the table. Literally everything on the table. All 16 spark plugs, serpentine belts. I got the full tensioner assembly and a new idler pulley with cap. And I'm also going to be treating the mass airflow sensor, just a nice little cleaning. I do this pretty much every oil change. I need to do all 16 spark plugs for this motor. And I'm going to do the entire serpentine kit, which is going to be the idler pulley, the full tensioner, and new belt. And obviously I have pretty much dielectric grease for the boots and the spark plugs. A little coating goes a long way, a little bit of care. And I'm also going to be treating the mass airflow sensor, just a nice little cleaning. I do this pretty much every oil change. It's not really as necessary, but it's an added benefit. Keeps your MAF air sensor clean, and obviously keeps it at optimal range, so when it's when you're driving it, you get the best out of that MAF sensor as far as readings go. Now, I'm also going to be doing the motor mounts as well. They're all the way down there. You can see that little metal cover that's down there. That's one of the motor mounts. The other one's on the other side, and the trans mount. I'm going to be doing those three, but on another video. Mainly because I won't have time and it's going to get dark soon, but I should be able to knock this down. Now, this is not going to be a do-it-yourself video. Again, I'm just blogging my progress. It's pretty much self-explanatory for any standard mechanic, but you will see me through the process. Not step by step, but I'm going to go right through it. So let's go ahead and begin. Alright, so pretty much now begins the task of removing all 16 spark plugs. Luckily I bought this tool. Got it from FCP Euro, and it's perfect enough where it actually sits into each housing, slim enough, and it has a pivot built into it, so it makes removal really easy. With a 6-inch extension, you can easily take these out, and it gives you that extra clearance of that angle, so your ratchet doesn't bang up against the firewall, the surrounding firewall, which is pretty good, in my opinion. The only moments where you're gonna have issues is the back end of the engine, where space is a little bit more confined, but I'll figure out pretty much if I need this extension. More than likely I won't. But anyway, let's continue. I already removed the first one, and you can see on this first spark plug on the passenger side, it is really dirty. There's a lot of carbon buildup up top, and I'm pretty sure these are original NGKs. Well, not original. I think maybe they replaced them on the 60K mark. I'm not too sure, to be honest. When I saw the past history, it says they were replaced, but it didn't say anything more than that. So removal was pretty easy, though. but you can see that carbon buildup. Now all that buildup pretty much will reduce that spark, which will pretty much lead to poor fuel economy and not as much power output. But if you remember from my last video, this car made I think it was 287 or 289 and 310 torque on the dyno, and that's from the power alone on this engine. So typically I think there was another one that tested the power out. It ranged at the 300 mark, so maybe that loss of 10 horsepower could be due to this. Maybe the engine's not getting the full benefit of a spark, but we're going to be taking the rest out right now. Now these spark plugs, so far going on the second one, it's been relatively easy to remove. Normally when people just hand tighten them without the use of a torque wrench, they don't torque it to spec, and sometimes they could over tighten it. And it looks like there's anti-seize agent on here, so that's actually pretty good. And this one's actually not that bad. Say using the 6/6 extension is needed all the way through. You have plenty of clearance with these two tools here, and of course the ratchet, so it makes it a lot easier. Not to mention these R171s, there's a little bit more space than there would be on the E55 from my experience from owning the two, and I do appreciate the extra space all the way around. But other than that, let's go ahead and tackle the left side, and we can start installing the new spark plugs. Let's get you a close look on the right bank. Here are the spark plugs in general. They're actually not that bad. Some of them do have a lot of buildup, like the front two over here. But towards the back end, they're not as dirty. Well, this one is actually. Everything seems to be in place. The ceramic, the diode. On some of these, you can tell the gaps are a little off on some. And that's mainly probably due to wear. Maybe when they installed them, they just didn't check the gap. But mainly, I just from what I understand is after a while, the gap tends to spread a little bit or close off, or the ceramic right here tends to break off. But so far, they're all intact. This one took a little bit more force, just a little bit, mainly because you can see some of the rust. But it wasn't too bad. Looks like there was some water that was trapped there, probably from power washing it, maybe. Who knows? Alright, so pretty much all 16 are out, and it's a good thing I'm changing them out because some of them are pretty caked up. It's a lot of carbon buildup, probably from poor quality gas. I'm not too sure, but now we got to put the other 16 back in. A little bit of anti-seize goes a long way, so make sure you do that. Alright, so for this part of the video, it's going to be pretty simple. Just torquing down all these spark plugs to 23 Newton meters or 17 foot-pounds. They don't require too much to be torqued onto the head. Now, I am using a torque wrench here, and the good news is you can use the torque wrench for all 16 spark plugs. You have enough space from front to back. It will require a little bit of finesse in the rear, but you shouldn't have any issues torquing the rear up. But yeah, just 23 Newton meters or 17 foot-pounds. So the next thing I'm going to be doing here is just pretty much going and removing the MAF sensor for its cleaning. Now I do this every oil change. It's typically best to clean your MAF sensor. Now obviously my E55, which has the M113k engine, does not have a MAF sensor. It has a MAP. So this is a different process for those. Ignore that. This is pretty much mostly for all the naturally aspirated V8s, V6s, and 4 cylinders. Pretty much most motors, they're NA for the most part. The main thing is to clean this sensor right here. This whole section. There's a meter on the other side of this plastic piece. You can kind of see it on this side. Once you give it a good cleaning, you just gotta let it dry. Let it dry naturally. Don't wipe it with anything. Now this is the seal for the MAF sensor. The base of the MAF sensor sits on top of this, and it goes onto an elbow that goes into the intake manifold. Now I'm just checking on it. It seems pretty good. A little stained because of weathering and heat, but overall this should still do its job. There's no need to replace it yet. This is the original piece too, and there's no cracks or damages on it, which is pretty impressive, given it that I'm giving it this kind of stress. Typically these are dummy proof. You can see the arrow. That's the air. So this is going to go into the elbow, so it sits like this. Obviously with the gasket right underneath it.
We're pretty much already getting towards the end of the video. I'm not gonna like show you guys putting putting pretty much all the spark plugs and everything back. It's pretty much self-explanatory, so I'm just gonna kind of speed through it. But one thing I gotta stress is check each individual boot or pretty much spark plug wires, and obviously your coil packs for any cracks or damages or worn out components. This could pretty much lead to misfires, especially on motors or engines that have over 100K or pretty much 15 years old, or anything over 7 years old. I would actually get them checked. But I'm applying some dielectric grease on the boot end covers, so they're supple, they stay supple, and they're easy to remove next time during multiple heat cycles. And obviously, with the same part on the coil packs as well, where the wires connect to. Just pretty much some standard preventative maintenance and some upkeep goes a long way. That's pretty much going to conclude this video. I do appreciate you guys pretty much going through. I just hit 700 subscribers, so that's actually pretty neat. I guess I must be doing something that's entertaining or something you guys like, so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not going to really change much. I'm going to try to do my best to improve as far as my audio and everything like that. It's not the best of the best, and I pretty much am learning how to edit and all that stuff, so just bear with me. I do appreciate you guys' feedback, but this is Panzer. You guys take it easy.